Hello, everybody. Hi, Carol. How are you this evening? Oh, welcome, everybody. We will get started here in about 2 minutes. Feature Friday Live. Hope everyone has had a wonderful prior 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, it has been that long. Wow. How about that? We're going to have some fun tonight. We are working on our Lunch Box Quilts, Just Flowers. And we are doing block number 6 tonight. So exciting. Woohoo. It is going to be a beautiful quilt when we get it done. How about that? Hi, Mark. Welcome. Good to see you, Mark. Hi, Mia. Good to see you too. Hey, Karen. Howdy. Hi. Oh my gosh. It was a little rainy here this morning, but it's turned out to be really quite a lovely day. Highs in the mid-70s and sunshiny off and on and all that fun stuff. And yeah. It is a good day. I have to make an announcement. Everyone hopefully will be happy to hear. Technical issues have been resolved. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Big shout out to Matt at MediaCom for helping us through this and really going to bat for us to get that issue fixed. And it wasn't just me, it was the neighborhood. They did a lot of work out here to get the internet connectivity issues resolved, and kudos to them for getting it done. Boy, howdy. It's a good thing. And let's see here. It is 6 o'clock, everybody. We're going to get started. So, what we are doing tonight is block number 6 of our project. And I have one already done. Here it is. This is block number 6. We have to make 3 of these for our project, so I'm going to be making 2 more of those tonight on camera. And I will also show how to use the templates again to trim them with. To use these to mark them so that you can trim them to their final size before they are sewn together. Hi, Christina. I missed you. I've missed all of you. I've missed you too, Christina. So, without further ado, next week is block number 7. And boy, howdy, I can tell you, I'm really looking forward to that one because it's got a lot of embroidery in it. It's only got fabric in the very center of that motif, so that will be a fun one to do as well. So, all of that being said, let's get started. And what I have over here is, just a moment. Let's see. That camera right there. Here's my colors I still have left to do right over here. Just give you a preview. We're going to do this one next. It's all in purples and blue. Then my other block for those 3 will be those 3 fabrics there and their other thread colors. Woohoo! Okay, so all of that being said, I have block number 6 loaded. I have to load my hoop. We'll get that hoop loaded and get started stitching. Gonna get started with some stitching here. Here we go. Now then, I'm gonna put my tearaway stabilizer on. And my background fabric. That's centered on there. Right there. Tighten up that hoop. Oh, thank you, Mia. That quilt in behind me was made by Sarah Galejos, my good friend, who's the host of one of the hosts of Fons and Porter's Love of Sewing, Love of Quilting. And yeah, so that Sarah Galejos made that quilt hanging behind me. I'm so happy to have it in my studio. She's such a good friend. Okay. Oh, thank you, Karen. So I have that loaded. Let me move the camera over here. There we go. Everyone see what's going on. So now I'm gonna get everything started. I have gray thread loaded in right now for all of this layering and trimming. So first, when I press the start button, it is going to do a basting stitch. There we go. And now we'll do a basting stitch around the perimeter. Alrighty. And now I'm going to take my first fabric, get my colors all laid out up here on my machine. There we go. Actually, is that the way, or is it that way? That way or that way? It is this way, right there. Okay. Next is going to be this lovely, it's called Mineral, is the name of that. This is all Tula Pink fabric, of course. I'm going to lay that one out right up there. And right there it is. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the tack down stitch. Since I'm using big pieces of fabric, I don't have to worry about doing a placement stitch. This will be the tack down stitch, and then we'll trim. I know, Karen, it's always fun. I enjoy the part of picking out all the fabric and that and different colors and stuff. That's something I like to do. So it is interesting to see how it all comes together, for sure. Hi, Christina. Welcome. Oh, absolutely, Karen. Either one is always a good thing. Lots of fun. Already ready to trim. So what it just stitched down, what this is going to be, are these little points right out here. You can see those. There we go. these little points sticking out from around the big parts of the flower is going to be this, is what this is. And I'll focus that around so everybody can get a look-see, see what this looks like. This is the fun part of the trimming. Our new classroom is almost done here in our shop, in the studio. Looking forward to getting that all up, completely finished. It has been an ongoing project, and boy howdy, we are close to having it completely done. I'm just trimming right up close to the stitching. That's what I'm doing. That was the tack down stitch. If I was using smaller pieces of fabric, I would have done a placement stitch first. But since I'm using larger pieces of fabric, there was really honestly no need for that. You could do it, and it just depends your preference totally on that, whether you want to do that tack down stitch or not. That placement stitch, I should say. You always have to do the tack down stitch or you wouldn't be able to trim your fabric. I made a funny, haha. And one more little point to trim. Let's see. And there's that. So that was part one of that block. Next, we'll put the large petals of that block will go down. Just so you know what we're doing here. There we go. This next color will be these big petals right here, going all the way around. I chose this fabric for that portion. Once again, I'm just going to do my tack down stitch. I'm not doing the placement stitch. Here goes the placement stitch. This is a fast one to stitch out, everybody. This block is. It really stitches out quickly, which is last couple I've done on here, there's taken some time to stitch them out, but not these. That's always a nice break. to get one that's a little faster to do. And this is just one big piece of fabric, so we got to trim all the way around the entire edges of it. And just trimmy, trim, trim, trim. And everybody, I'm getting ready to announce a virtual 3-day serger camp. So spread the word, and anybody that might be interested in that, I will make that announcement here soon. It will be a fun time with projects and all that fun stuff for 3 wonderful, fabulous days through, and it will all be conducted through Zoom. Okay, there's that one. See how quick that was? It's already, it just doesn't take long to stitch that out. And now all I have to do is put the center in and cut that out, and then we'll do our final stitching around the raw edges. Hi Evelyn, welcome. How are you this evening? Okay, here we go. Get that put in. And this is where you can use some of your scraps. So I know that'll fit, but this one I will do the placement stitch so I can orient my scrap on top of it. So check it out. I'm going to do my placement stitch next. And I see it there, and I'm just going to make sure I cover that placement stitch up with fabric. And now it will do my tack down stitch. Hi Mike. As far as I know, I'm not getting any error messages on this side, so I'm going to say it's all great. There we go. Now we'll trim off the excess fabric off of that next. Then we can do our embroidery thread around all the raw edges. I find by holding a piece of that fabric, it puts just enough tension on it that it really makes it easy to trim close to your line of stitching, everybody. Okay, there we go. Next, I'm going to change the thread, and it will stitch the finishing, the edge finishing. The order it does it is from the outside edge. You'll do this, then this, and then this. So there's the first color thread right there. Let's get that one, that thread change done. There we go. And the thread I used for my tack down stitch, everybody, was just Madeira 40 weight arrow quilt. So quilting sewing thread, this right here. I find gray is the one to use because it blends with everything. It's just going to get covered up. So let's get our first embroidery thread on there. Did I hit it? I hit it. Okay. Thread that needle, and now we're ready to do our first of 3 color changes. Get that party started. Hi, Janelle. Oh, Janelle, I enjoyed meeting you last weekend in Boise also. Oh, thank you, Mark. Thank you for that input. I appreciate it. And it's been a long road to get that to get those issues resolved, I will tell you. And so what it's doing around these little points is doing like a satin type of stitch. And just remember, there's with the finished block, this one's been trimmed and everything, but that's what we're stitching out right now. Absolutely, Evelyn. To use up smaller scraps of fabric, applique is the way to get that accomplished, for sure. And yay, now we can switch to our second color. We'll do that thread change. Menu. Here we go. Get that one off and it's done. Color number 2. And there we go with that one. Yes, Evelyn, I am doing this tonight on the Solaris. It is, yes. For this stitch, it is doing a beautiful honeycomb design that was created by Lunch Box Quilts. It's this stitch right here, this dark green, this one. That's what we're doing. Give y'all a little closer view of it while it's doing that. Here we go. fun just to watch a design stitch out. That's what I've been a little quiet. I've just been kind of mesmerized by watching the stitch out as it goes. It's always a very relaxing, meditative thing to do, is to watch your design stitch out on your machine. section is almost done, everybody. Woohoo. And now we can change to our final thread color for the little area around the blue center, which is going to be this thread right here. Excuse me. There we go. Oops. Putting on, doing a thread change. Woohoo. Here we go. Alrighty, let's get this little center stitched out here. It's about 1 minute, and then we'll make our next block. Hi, Vanessa. Good to see you. How are you doing? That block has turned out really nice. I like that. It's looking good. So everybody, this is block number 6 in our solo log project, and we have to have 3 of them for a finished quilt. And that is one. There's the other one. We have one more to make yet. Oops. There we go. There's the 2 I have done so far. One more to go. And now we get to rehoop and all that fun stuff. You get me some coffee. Oh, wonderful. How was Disney? Did you go to Florida or California? I already have my stabilizer and stuff cut. Let's get that piece down. Get that on there. I was experimenting and cut a few squares that were bigger than what the instructions called for, so it would completely hoop. Now, if it'll completely hoop, what I mean by that, the reason I'm using the basting stitch is because, as you can see here, this fabric, you can see on the crease marks where the hoop is. My background fabric is fine this way, but up here there's about a 3/4 of an inch gap from the hoop and about 1/2 an inch down here, and that's why I did the basting stitch. Basically, if you were going to float fabric, that's what you would do as well. But since this one has enough fabric to completely come out around all sides of the hoop, I don't have to do a basting stitch on that one. So let's get this loaded in the machine. Got plenty of bobbin thread. Just took a peek at that. I'm gonna put my gray quilting, my gray sewing thread back in, my arrow quilt. You could use anything. You could use Aurifil, whatever your heart desires. I'm just using this because it's what I have. And I like this thread a lot. I use it on all my machines for sewing, piecing, quilting, all that fun stuff. I like it because it does not produce a whole lot of lint. Thread that needle. Here we go. Now then, since I already have that basting stitch programmed in for this, I'm just going to go ahead and do it, even though I wouldn't have to. I'm going to go ahead and do the basting stitch. Just keep it consistent. Oh, I hear you, Vanessa. I'm the same way. Although Disney sounds like so much fun. Oh my goodness. Alrighty, there we go. So next, and once again, since I'm using larger pieces of fabric, I do not need to do a placement stitch. As you'll see when I lay down this first one here. Lay that on right there. Okay, and that's what is going to be these little points right here. Okay. So I am going to do the tack down stitch, get that started. It will, Christina. This is going to make a beautiful quilt. It truly, truly is. This is going to be one of those bright and beautiful happy quilts, and that's my favorite kind to make. Because I believe when you make a quilt, it should be bright, and it should make people smile when they see it. It puts you in a very nice, happy place. I think that's a good thing. So you can see there's my tack down stitches. We're going to give them a trim. There we go, there's that one. And like I said, I did not do a placement stitch because I'm using these larger pieces of fabric. But boy howdy, this would be a good way to use up scraps of fabric, because it doesn't take a very big piece of fabric for this right here. I mean, let me put my finger on it. See? Or my thumb. Yeah. I'll be making more of these, I know, in the future. I want to do one with a black background. I think that could be quite lovely as well. May have to do a cape one like that. I think that would look really cool. Big shout out to Lunch Box Quilts and Angie Stevenson. She is such a wonderful person and a consummate professional, and boy howdy does she make some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful designs. And I can't wait to stitch out another one of hers. I actually have the very first one of hers I purchased. It has nothing but cowboy boots on it, and we'll have to make one of those here in the future. Put that on our sewing agenda. There we go. That one's all done. Time for fabric number 2. There we go. We'll just do our tack down stitch. Make sure I'm in the right place. There we go. Oh, I know Vanessa. I love it. I love that fabric as well. There is not, honestly, there's not one piece of fabric in that. This was a layer cake, two-layer cake. There's not one piece of fabric that I can top Getting my threads all lined up over here. My embroidery threads. Once we get this one done, I will show how to use these templates to mark my cutting lines so that each one of my blocks are cut to the exact same size. And by using these, it also makes sure that your design, your applique design, is perfectly centered in your block. Okay. So let's give that one a trim now. That was quick. That was quick. Let's get this one trimmed. Let me give a shout out to Karen Wiles. It was her suggestion to use my little thread snips here to trim the applique fabric with, and boy howdy. Yes, Karen, thank you. You have converted me to using these as well. My hands don't get nearly as sore as they did before I started using these. These just happen to be the Tula Pink brand, but other brands are made just like this. And I really never thought about using them because they're marketed to trim thread with, and I never, me, I never thought to use them for this, and it just makes it so much faster and easier. Oh my goodness. I love using these to trim my appliques with. I've literally put ridges on my thumb by using applique scissors when I've had a lot of it to do. And these totally do not let that happen. See how fast that was? So nice. Okay. Next we have our little center to do. And once again, I've only been doing the tack down stitch, but on this one, I will do the placement stitch because I am using, where's my little scrap of, where did it go? Where are you at? I have a little scrap of fabric to use for the center. There it is. It's just a trimming from one of the other blocks I've done. So I will do a placement stitch next. It's a little, Karen, never hold your tongue, please. You converted me for that. You have converted me to this. There's no going back now. Thank you for that. Okay, so as you can see, there's the placement stitch. I'm just going to make sure it's covered up with my little scrap of fabric. There we go. And now we'll do our tack down stitch. And I'm not pressing down on it, I'm just making sure to get it started. It stays nice and flat. Woohoo. There we go. Now, let's get that one a trim. There we go. Fast and easy. And you know what? That little scrap, I'll save that because that'll do another center. Look at that. See? I remember my mom telling me, don't waste fabric. And as you can see, I'm even saving the small scraps. Okay, so now the fun part. Let's do all our pretty colored embroidery threads. Let me trim that one. Get that out of there. Oh, I don't know about man hands, but I have big hands as well. Big hands, big feet. And yeah, so I love these. If you see how tight those, I mean, they're not super tight. I've had others that are really tight. But these are Kai's, and I love these. I love these little trim embroidery scissors. And if the blades on these are much smaller than my thread snips, so if I was doing some really intricate applique, this is what I would use for that. Because the blade thickness on these thread snips are actually, doesn't look like it, but they're quite a bit thicker, each blade is. Okay, so let's do our first thread color for right here. Get that threaded. And press the start button. We'll get that one stitched out. Aren't they beautiful? They are happy. I mean, I chose those colors, and then that beautiful, all that beautiful. This one reminds me of my mother because it reminds me of a clover leaf, even though it's be a 5-leaf clover. That'd be really lucky, wouldn't it? Ooh. And then the one we just did is this one here. So there's the 3 colors I made for this particular block. And I'm purposely making each block look totally different from the next. Mark, I think my fingers thank her as well. Yeah. Thank you, Karen. Yes. Karen, better to be a smart one than a dumb one. It's okay. Oh my goodness. You mean a smart angel? Yes. Always better to be a smart angel than a dumb angel. There we go. I do, but I don't have any in stock right now. I'm getting ready to actually place an order with a new supplier so I can buy some Tulip Ink branded things such as those snips. Those are not the easiest thing to get. Alright, now we can change our thread color to the next thread color. That's just tangerine color. Look at that. Doesn't that match really nicely with that? Oops. Well, let me get a hold of the thread and then I can get it threaded. There we go. Woohoo. Okay, this is the biggest part of the stitch out on this block is this one. Absolutely, Mia, I will let you know. Thank you. You're so awesome. Thank you, Mia. it's getting close to the end of that, everybody. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be honest, I nodded off just a little bit then. It is so relaxing to watch. Oh my goodness. And then we'll have our little chartreuse screen to put around the center of this block, and that will be 2 of them done. Woohoo! And then I'm gonna show you how to mark them. Okay, that's a really important step in the end, and I find instead of waiting at the very end to trim them all, I like to trim them as I go. It would be a lot to have to do at the very end if you wait until then to do it. But you can do it any way you want to. Okay, let's put that third color change. So there's my color for the center. Okay, let's get that one started. I just love that little feathered satin stitch right there that has the jagged edges to it. I just love that stitch. Check it out, everybody. It's going to make the ta-ding, I'm done song. And there it is. So, isn't that pretty? So, once again, the 3 colors I did for block number 6 is the orange one, the one with the lavenders in it. We're going to trim this. We're going to take the paper out and put our markings down on that one, and then the lovely Irish green one. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this one right here. Okay, so I have to take out that basting stitch first. I'm just going to use my seam ripper, and what I like to do is actually just rip it right in all 4 corners first. Here we go. There's where the knot is. We'll deal with the knot just a little later. I'm just going to pull out some of the ends so I can get a good grip on that thread. I'm going to pull out the top basting thread. Come on, you. There's one. I'll just put it up there so I can find it easier. Then we'll get this one next. Then this one. And this one over here. I actually cut that one. I didn't get it all out in one piece, but that's okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I just pulled it out. I'm going to, where the knot is, I'm going to make sure this fabric is nice and flat right there, and I'm going to trim it close with these curved scissors. You can trim real close as long as it's nice and flat on a table without ever cutting your fabric. That takes that little basting knot out. Then the way you can remove that little knot sometimes is not so easy to get snipped out of there. There we go. Yep, that's gone. And then I'm going to pull off my big piece of bobbin thread from the top of the paper. And then I'm just going to take my stabilizer and pull it all towards the center. I'm using Ultra Easy Tear. It just really comes off super easy. I have used stabilizer in the past. Oh my gosh, you'd swear you're going to rip out stitches just by tearing the tearaway off of the back of it. And now I'm going to use my seam ripper. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to rake the tip right there like that to loosen it and pull off that little piece of tearaway. Go all the way around it and do that. Mike's working out in the greenhouse tonight. As you can see, just work your way all the way around it. Get it started, and then just grab a hold of it and take it out. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now, come on, you. Scrapey scrape. Once we get all the paper off, I'm going to mark the front of it with some marks for my ruler to place when I do the rotary cutting to trim it to size. These blocks are trimmed to 6.5 by 6.5 inches. Is the cut size. Okay, there's all my paper off. Let me get my excess threads, put them in the trash can. Now, there it is. So now I'm going to mark it using the cutting template. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay this on top of it, and sometimes if you might lay it on top and it won't line up in this, you just have to rotate it. It will fit exactly on top of the stitch out. Okay? Right there. Then I'm going to hold it in place, and I like to use a micron permanent fabric. This is what you sign a quilt label with. But I'm just going to go about an inch in from each corner and draw a line right up against the plastic template. These will be lines for me to line my ruler up with. One more corner right down here. Okay, there it's all marked. Then when I go to where my cutting table is, I I will just put a ruler right across those marks. See the marks there that I made with that dark? That will not bleed or anything, everybody. So that is what these micron markers are made for, is for fabric. Okay, love these things. This is Pigma Micron with a number 5 tip. Okay, so then when I put my ruler down on it, I will just rotary cut that way, that way, that way, that way. And once it's cut out, they will all be exactly the same size. Exactly. And that's how easy those are to use. Well worth it. Well worth it. Okay, everybody, let me swap my camera. And boy, wasn't that fun. Oh my gosh. So next week will be block number 7, and it's going to be a lot of embroidery, which is good. There's the fact for the applique will only be the center of the design that is appliqued. Yes, Christina, Pigma Micron number 5 tip is what I use. I use them a lot. Oh my gosh. I use them for, maybe I'm going to put something on a light box to trace, and this is what I use also. I'm going to trace it on fabric with a light box. So much fun. Oh, hi, Coralie. No, honey, you're fine. You're fine. We're just finishing up. This is what we've made tonight. This block and this block. And it's still in the hoop, but we made this one also. That was block number 6 of our Lunch Box Quilts, is what we've done tonight. And so much fun, everybody. Oh my gosh, so happy to be back off of the road. I will see y'all next Friday night, and I'm contemplating doing 2 blocks a week now. So how do y'all feel about that? If I did 2 block, maybe next week I'll do 7 and 8. How do y'all feel about that? That way, because we're getting close, we're about half. After next week, we would be halfway through the amount of blocks, and I was thinking of maybe just doubling up the blocks each week now, so we can get speed it up just a little bit, or we can just do 1. I want to hear from y'all. Put it in the comments on the video, and we'll do whatever y'all want to do. Okay. Wonderful, Christina. Thank you. I just think it'll help speed up the process, and I'll just do 1 block each before next Friday night. I will have my excess blocks already done, and then I'll do the 1 block of each design on Friday night. And that way we'll do two blocks a week that way. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Mark and Coralie and Karen. Thank you, Christina. Thank you. Wonderful, Mia. Thank you so much. Okay, everybody, that wraps us up for this Friday. And for club members, tomorrow night is episode 4 of Scrap Petal Garden. And we'll be doing, I'm going to attempt to get that done tomorrow night. We'll see how that goes. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, I've just got the large motif left to do on that. Thank you, Chris. 2 a week. Wonderful. I thought everybody might like that, but when I first planned to do this, I didn't realize it was going to be like 3 months. So I'm going to try to shorten these up so we can get them done in 6 weeks or less anyway. So, good night, everybody. I'll see you all next week. And some of you I will see tomorrow night. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love each and every one of you. Bye now.